The morning sun rose gently over the dusty roads of Rajagaha. The Buddha walked calmly, surrounded by a group of monks. Birds sang softly, and the fragrance of wild jasmine filled the air. Every step of the Blessed One seemed to bring peace to the earth beneath him. As they passed through a small village, the people came out to offer alms, rice, fruits, and flowers. Among them was an old man, bent with age, his eyes cloudy with time. He watched the Buddha pass by but did not move. His face was lined with sorrow, and his clothes hung loosely on his thin frame. After the monks had eaten, the old man approached slowly, leaning on a stick. "Venerable sir," he said, his voice trembling, "I have seen many seasons pass. My sons have gone, my wife is gone, and soon I too will go. But before I die, I wish to know, what is the meaning of all this? Why must we grow old, suffer, and die?" The Buddha looked at him with infinite compassion. "Come, old one," he said gently. "Sit beside me, and I will tell you a story. In it, you may find the truth you seek." And so, under the shade of a Bodhi tree by the roadside, an old man sat before the awakened one. And a teaching began, not through preaching, but through story. The Buddha spoke softly, his voice flowing like a gentle stream. Long ago, there was a young man, strong and full of life. His eyes were bright, his laughter loud. He thought he would live forever. Each morning he looked into the mirror and saw youth as his crown, smooth skin, strong limbs, and boundless energy. But as the seasons passed, something changed. One morning, he looked into the same mirror and saw a wrinkle upon his brow. His hair had turned the color of ashes. His back bent slightly, and his hands trembled when he lifted a cup of tea. The old man listened, nodding slowly, for he too had seen such days fade. The young man tried to hide from old age. He drank herbs, sought healers, and prayed to the gods, yet no god could grant him youth again. Time, like a river, carried him forward, no matter how tightly he clung to the shore. The Buddha paused. "Tell me, old one, can you stop the seasons from changing? Can you order the moon to stay full forever?" The old man shook his head. "No, Lord, none can stop it." "Just so," said the Buddha. "All that is born must grow old. The body changes, the senses fade, but wisdom can grow as youth fades. That is the gift hidden in aging, the chance to see truth." The Buddha continued, his gaze resting on the distant hills. The young man once believed his beauty would last forever. He built a house, filled it with riches, and boasted of his strength. But one day, his body failed him. He fell ill, and his wealth could not buy him a single breath of relief. "Why do we cling," the Buddha asked softly, "to what we know must change? Why do we call what is fragile ours?" The old man's eyes filled with tears. "Because we are afraid, Lord. We fear losing what we love." The Buddha smiled gently. "Yes, fear is born of attachment. But see this truth. Impermanence is not your enemy. It is the teacher. When you understand that all things rise and fall, you will no longer cling to the fleeting, nor fear its passing." He pointed to a flower blooming beside them. "This flower will fade by nightfall, but does that make it less beautiful? No, it is beautiful because it will fade." The old man gazed at the flower, its petals glowing in the sunlight. He felt something stir in his heart, a strange peace he had not known for years. The Buddha's words were simple, yet they pierced through the fog of his sorrow like morning light through mist. The Buddha's voice softened. "When we see change, we suffer. When we lose what we love, we suffer. When we desire what cannot be, we suffer. This is the first truth I discovered beneath the Bodhi tree. Life as we know it is marked by dukkha, or suffering." The old man sighed deeply. "Yes, Lord, my body aches, my heart aches. I have lost everyone I loved. My days are long, and my nights are longer still." The Buddha looked at him with compassion. "Old one, suffering is not punishment, it is a messenger. It tells us you are clinging to what must change. It invites us to look deeper, beyond the changing form, to what is eternal within." The wind whispered through the trees. The Buddha continued, "You suffer not because you are old, but because you believe the loss of youth means the loss of value. You believe love dies when bodies fade. But true love, the love born of wisdom, does not fade." The old man bowed his head, tears falling silently onto the earth. "Then what remains, Lord, when all else is gone?" The Buddha smiled. "Awareness remains. That which sees all change, yet is not changed. That is your true self." The Buddha took a bowl of water and placed it before the old man. "Look into this water. What do you see?" "My reflection, Lord," the old man said. The Buddha stirred the water with a twig. "And now?" I see nothing but ripples. Just so, said the Buddha. The mind is like this water. When disturbed by desire, fear, or regret, it cannot reflect truth. But when it is still, it shows reality clearly. The old man gazed into the bowl as the ripples slowly faded. His face appeared again, wrinkled yet peaceful. How do I make my mind still, Lord? He asked. By seeing clearly, said the Buddha. See desire as desire, not as need. See pain as pain, not as punishment. See aging as transformation, not as loss. When you observe without judgment, the mind becomes clear and peace arises naturally. The old man nodded slowly. So peace is not found outside, but within. The Buddha smiled. Yes, the storm is in the mind, and so is the calm. When you stop chasing after what was or fearing what will be, you awaken. The Buddha pointed to a tree nearby. Its leaves were beginning to turn gold with the coming autumn. A single leaf loosened from its branch and drifted slowly to the ground. See that leaf? The Buddha said. It falls not in sorrow, but in surrender. It does not fight the wind, it dances with it. In the same way, when you learn to let go, life becomes a dance, not a struggle. The old man smiled faintly. But letting go is hard, Lord. I have loved deeply. How can I simply release what I have lost? The Buddha looked at him kindly. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means loving without clinging. You can remember those you love without being chained by sorrow. Love them as you would the leaf, for the beauty of its time upon the branch and for the grace of its fall. The old man closed his eyes and felt the breeze brush against his face. For the first time, he did not feel the weight of loss, only the rhythm of life moving on. The Buddha's voice was soft. Everything changes, old one. But when you understand this deeply, you will see there is peace in change. The Buddha rose and began walking toward a nearby river. The old man followed, slowly but steadily. They stood by the flowing water, its surface glimmering in the sun. Look at this river, said the Buddha. The water you see now is not the same as it was a moment ago, yet we still call it one river. The old man nodded. Yes, Lord. So it is with you, the Buddha continued. Your body, your thoughts, your feelings, all are changing moment by moment. Yet you say, this is me. But which me do you mean? The child? The youth? The old man? The old man was silent. The Buddha's words struck deep. When you see that you are like the river, said the Buddha, you will stop fearing death. For the river does not die. It simply flows into the sea. The old man's heart stirred with awe. Then, even when I die, something continues? The Buddha smiled. Not the self you cling to, but the truth that animates all things, that continues. Like the river that becomes the ocean, the drop returns to its source. They sat quietly by the river. The old man felt as though a veil had lifted from his eyes. For the first time, he was not afraid. The lines on his face no longer felt like burdens, but like stories. Each wrinkle a memory of love, loss, and learning. Lord, he whispered, I see now. I have been fighting the current all my life, trying to hold back time, to keep what must pass. But now I see the beauty in letting go. The Buddha nodded gently. When you stop resisting life, peace enters naturally. You are like a traveler who finally sets down his heavy load. The old man smiled through tears. And yet, I feel lighter than I have in years. The Buddha placed his hand upon the man's head. You have seen truth today, old one. Not through me, but through your own understanding. That is the real awakening, when wisdom arises in your own heart. The old man bowed deeply. Then I am grateful, Lord. For the first time, I am not afraid to die. The Buddha and the old man walked back toward the village. Along the path, they passed a group of children playing, their laughter echoing through the valley. The old man smiled. They are so full of life. Once, I was like them. The Buddha said, yes, and one day, they too will grow old as you did, but if they understand what you now understand, they will live without fear. He looked at the old man. Remember this, every breath you take is a chance to awaken. You do not need youth for peace, nor riches for happiness. You need only awareness to see the truth of each moment. The old man pressed his palms together. I will remember, Lord. Each breath, a gift. Each moment, enough. The Buddha smiled. Then you have learned the greatest lesson, to live fully and to let go freely. The two stood for a long while in silence, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of gold and crimson. Weeks later, the old man fell ill. The villagers cared for him tenderly, for he had become kind and serene. One evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, he asked to be carried to the riverbank, the place where he had heard the Buddha's words. He lay upon the earth, listening to the sound of flowing water. His breath slowed. He smiled faintly and whispered, "Like the river, I return to the sea." The villagers said that as he passed, the wind grew still and the air filled with the scent of jasmine. When the Buddha heard of his passing, he closed his eyes and said softly to his disciples, "He who once feared death has awakened to life. Rejoice, for he is free." And so the story of the old man spread through the villages, a story not of sorrow, but of peace. The Buddha had not given him eternity. He had given him understanding. And in that understanding, the old man found what he had sought all his life, the end of fear and the beginning of freedom.